Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a box office breakdown show here on Max Talks Movies. We're talking about the box office of September the 9th. September the 10th to September the 12th. Here today, we're going to talk about the overall weekend box office, the top 5 movies at the weekend box office. We're also going to look at the total domestic totals of the entire year thus far here in the United States. And we're also going to look at the top 10 worldwide. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. I do this breakdown every single Monday here on the channel. Also do movie reviews, TV show reviews, streaming platform reviews, movie rankings, and many, many more things. So subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below. Let me know what movie did you see in theaters this past weekend. And also please like button, guys, down below, the thumbs up. Please smash that. It's the best way to support this channel. I've also done a review for all 5 of these movies that are in the top 5 weekend domestic charts. So I'll leave a playlist at the end of the video that you can click on and see my other 5 reviews of those movies. Let's talk about the box office this past weekend. Starting off in first place this weekend was Shang Chi and the Legend of 10 Rings in its second weekend, pulling in $35.78 million, which is a 53% drop-off, a really good drop-off for superhero movies here in the pandemic. In its second week, it takes its total gross to $145 million. So Shang-Chi doing really, really well here at the domestic box office. Black Widow dropped like 68%. So the fact that this movie did not hit that 70% plateau, this movies like F9 and Black Widow hit during the pandemic. Shang-Chi with a lot of rewatchability. And after 45 days, it does go to Disney Plus, but Shang-Chi doing really well at the box office. And this is a pretty good month for them where they could be in first place for every single weekend here in this month because there's no major releases other than Shang-Chi. So a major opportunity, as I said last week on the show, for Shang-Chi to basically dominate September before we get the biggest month of movies in a long time, October, where we have multiple big movies coming out every single weekend. So Shang-Chi only drops 53%, a huge win at the box office here domestically. So sadly, this weekend, that was the only film to gross over $10 million, a pretty slow week at the box office. We'll talk about that new release that came out this weekend in just a bit. But coming in second place is Free Guy this week, dropping 35% in its 5th week. And now it grosses $5.8 million. And it takes its domestic total to $101 million. We'll talk about why that's so key in a minute. But Free Guy has seemed to be one of the more successful movies of the entire year. It's a film that, again, not a lot of people thought would do very well. It didn't open amazing, opened around $28 million, but his sustainability at the box office has been evident. It is now grossed over $100 million at the box office, and in its 5th week, it is still in the top 2 at the box office. Really impressive stuff for Free Guy. The big new release of the weekend was Malignant from Warner Brothers. This film was available on both HBO Max with no extra cost and in theaters. It made $5.5 million, around like 25,000 less than Free Guy. But only $5.5 million to its opening weekend. It's only a $40 million budget. It was trending. I saw a lot of people talk about this movie over the weekend, so it seems like most people did go see this at home. It did not seem like a lot. Again, this movie did not do well here at the box office. But again, we don't really know how good a movie is doing, especially these HBO Max deals, because how much are they making back end on, and how much of people are watching this movie on HBO Max, helping out the streaming service. I saw it in theaters on Friday, really enjoyed myself. I know a lot of people were talking about this movie this weekend, so it's weird to see a very low number at the box office, but Malignant is a rated R horror film, so that is at number 3. Another rated R horror film, or I think it was PG-13 if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember now. Candyman made $4.9 million. That's a 52% drop in its 3rd weekend. Candyman now goes to $48.1 million. So Candyman is doing all right at the box office. Nothing really special. Was not a massive hit. Again, the first film came back in 1992. And again, I'm really happy. Candyman was not a huge budget as well, so they don't really need that much money at the box office. It will be available for PVOD in a couple of weeks as well. So we'll see how the Candyman does as well at the PVOD. And still in the top 5, ladies and gentlemen, can't leave the top 5. And that is Jungle Cruise, making $2.4 this weekend, which is a 39% drop at the box office. In its 7th week, it takes its total $109 million. So still in all 7 weeks, Jungle Cruise has remained in the top 5 here at the box office. Really, really impressive stuff from Jungle Cruise. This film is still available for premiere access on Disney Plus for $30, and it's still dominating at the box office. Again, really impressive, one of the more successful premiere access movies, maybe the most successful premiere access film for Disney Plus, with sustainability both on Disney Plus itself and in the box office. So Jungle Cruise wraps up the top 5. Now let's take a look at the domestic box office. Overall, we have some new things to talk about here. Black Widow remains at number 1 with $183 million. F9, The Fast Saga, is at 172. A Quiet Place Part 2 is at 160. And joining the $100 million club is Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Shang Chi now up to $145 million. It is now in 4th place total at the domestic box office, and only its 2nd weekend, with a lot of nothing coming out really this month, major releases. So it has a great chance to at least pass A Quiet Place Part 2 and even past F9, The Fast Saga. The question is, can Shang-Chi reach $200 million, and can it pass Black Widow? Still in the top 5, Jungle Cruise is at $109 million. That has recently joined the $100 million club. And another new movie today, as I just talked about, Free Guy has joined the $100 million club with $101 million. It is in 6th place, and Godzilla vs. Kong is number 7. We were really talking about for a long time. We only had like 4 $100 million movies. We had Black Widow, F9, Quiet Place, and Godzilla vs. Kong. With Shang-Chi, Jungle Cruise, and Free Guy, all Disney-owned brands, all getting into the top. So we have 7 now movies that are at $100 million. Cruella is the next one up to it. It's at 86. That will not be able to pass $100 million. And that's where October really comes in. We're not going to see a new $100 million movie for at least another month. We have major releases coming out in October, like Venom, Dune, Jackass, The French Dispatch, Last Night in Soho. All these, Last Duel, all these movies are coming out in October. And can one of those movies join the club? Because this is a pretty big club now. Wait to see 7 movies. Now the big question that we'll be tracking for the next month or so is, can Shang-Chi get to the $200 million club and separate itself from the pack? We've not had a $200 million movie this year, which is really sad to think about. The question is, Shang-Chi is $55 million away, and we're already 2 weeks in. So can it get 55 here in the United States by that time? Let's continue with the worldwide box office. As I said, Chinese film is at number 1, but F9 is number 2 with 714. We have a new member here in the top 10. So as I said, normally in the top 10 at the box office is F9, Godzilla vs. Kong, Black Widow, Free Guy joined in last week, A Quiet Place Part 2, Cruella are all still in the top 10 at the worldwide box office. But we've been talking about it, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, seemed like it would slip outside the top 10. It has this week because Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings has moved into number 8 spot at the worldwide box office with $257 million. That's 12 behind A Quiet Place Part 2. It will probably get into the top 5 of the worldwide box office, top at least 6 very soon. So Conjuring fell out. They're $5 million behind a Chinese film called Chinese Doctors. And Jungle Cruise is also $9 million shy of the top 10 as well. So we have a lot of new top 10. Free Guy getting up to $276 million worldwide. So a lot of positivity this weekend at the box office, but Shang-Chi continues to be at number 1. We do have 2 new movie releases coming out this weekend. First of all, it is The Eyes of Tommy Faye, which is a new Oscar award, I guess, push movie with Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield. That will be releasing exclusively in theaters this weekend. And then Cry Macho, which is the new Clint Eastwood Western film, that will be released both on HBO Max with no extra cost and in theater. So again, no really major movies are coming out really for the rest of the month. We'll see if any of those 2 films can crack the top 5. The question is, can Shang-Chi join the $200 million club? Join me next Monday to discuss how it is doing. You can like the video, subscribe, ring the bell. I've reviewed all 5 of those movies I talked about this weekend at the top 5 box office with that playlist right to your right. Please click on it to see all my movie reviews of this past year. I'll see you soon.